Is it, people? Welcome to Convince Me, week 8 of the NFL. Bets are being made. This is the best window in all of sports, the most exciting 2 hours in all of sports. And in the next 30 minutes, you are not getting heartfelt analysis. You will get no feels, only cold, hard, usable information. In about 10 minutes, you're going to get a chance to win serious cash and a chance to get exclusive info on what our Sunday Night Football prop is from the odds maker, Sean Corner. We're going to have Darren Ravel with the latest line moves and the market moves. We're going to have Katie Richcreek with what you are most interested according to what we are seeing in the digital space. But first, we've got Chris Raybon, we've got Matthew Friedman, and we've got the Corn Man, Mr. Sean Corner, to convince me on how I should spend this $100. Which side should I bet on? One bet per person. Sean Corner, you're up first.
I'm going with the Browns. The line dropped to -1, so I like it even more. I'm going with the Browns -1 today. The weather should be an issue here. There's supposed to be sustained winds of around 25 to 30 miles per hour. So I think this is going to be a run-heavy matchup, which plays right into the Browns' preferred style play. The only team that's run more than them this year is the Ravens. The Raiders are the fourth worst team against the run in terms of DVOA. And on the other side of the ball, Josh Jacobs is banged up with a knee injury, so he's going to be playing at less than 100% today. Not ideal for the Raiders. And also, their secret weapon is their rookie Henry Ruggs. He's such a good deep threat, but I think given the wind, that should negate him quite a bit. And I think that was the way that the Raiders could have been able to attack this Browns defense, who is a little bit better against the run. So given the conditions today and the change in the matchup, I love the Browns at -1 here.
All right, so I know that not everybody on this panel agrees with you, because I listened to Chris Raybon and Stuckey on the Action Network football podcast this week, and we're going to let Raybon get his say in. But I do say I kind of love this side, and I am very interested to see how Friedman, who has never said anything I actually liked on this show, can try to convince me that there is a better play than Cleveland at -1. Cleveland at -1 at home.
Well, first of all, Chad, I like Sean's call. I think that's the one you should go with. I don't want you to go with the play that I like, which is Packers -6. And Chad, I know you probably hate this, but it is a gift from the football gods. The Vikings are a mess on defense, especially at cornerback. All of their starting cornerbacks from last year, they left in the offseason. Let's not even talk about those guys. Let's talk about the guys who started in week 1. 2 of those 3 guys are out. This week, they're starting 3 rookies at cornerback. And those are the guys who are going to slow down Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Cameron Dantzler, the guy who is probably going to be on Davante Adams the most, he is fresh off the COVID list, and he has allowed a touchdown in each game he has played. And he's played only 4 games. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams are going to destroy these guys. On top of that, the Vikings just traded Yannick Ngakoue, and they put Daniel Hunter on IR. They will get no pass rush. Rodgers will have an ice age in the pocket. And Rodgers, by the way, is in a very prime spot. At home, he is 55, 30, and 3 against the spread. That's from our Bet Labs database. In division, he's 44 and 25 against the spread. And if you put those two things together, at home in division, he is 22 and 11 against the spread. Good for a 30% return on investment. Not even the wind is going to slow down Aaron Rodgers. Fantasy and reality, they're not the same thing, but if you look in the Fantasy Labs trends tool, you will see that Rodgers has massively outperformed fantasy expectations in 67% of the games that he has played. Rodgers is going to send the Vikings packing. Nailed it.
Oh my God. That is worse than last week when you were like, these cats can bite or something like that. Whatever it was when you're going on the Lions. And listen, it was the Panthers, which also I liked. I don't hate what you're saying. Here's my problem. I have loved the Vikings all week. I loved them at 7.5. I loved them at 7. I'm having a hard time with Mike Zimmer coming off a bye, despite all the things you said about them having to make significant personnel changes on the defensive side of the ball. My feeling on this Vikings team from the beginning was that they could be a very good team, a very talented team, and a team that is a difficult out once you got through the first few weeks of the season, because they are a team that had so much turnover on defense. They needed a preseason. They needed practices. They needed to play together. And Mike Zimmer needed to know what kind of talent he had on this defense. And I feel like with the 4 weeks he's had, 5 weeks he's had, plus a bye, he now has a very good sense of what works on this defense. So while everything you were saying about the Packers is true, I feel like there is a lot of historical bias in your favor, but I don't like what the present tense is telling me. So I hate this pick. I'm not going to be convinced. I'm not going to let you sort of fool me into it the way you fooled me into it, the Cowboys. I'm sticking with the Vikings. I don't love the number as much. So like, I don't love that I'm not getting the best of the number anymore, which I have to do, but you will not convince me of the Packers at -6. Raybon, I know you love the Raiders, number one. If you want to give a quick counter to the Corn Man on his Browns pick.
I mean, the Browns are 5-2 and they have a negative point differential. I'm selling like that. Simple as that on the Browns. But as far as the pick I'm going to convince you of, this is the pick you should go with, Chad. It's the Saints -4 in Chicago. There's going to be a ton of wind, and you would think, okay, maybe that makes it a closer game. Maybe that makes it more of a run-heavy game and the dog can cover. But guess what? The Bears are dead last in the league in rushing yards per game at 84.1. The Saints are top 5 in allowed yards per carry to running backs at 3.5. So if the game gets more run heavy, it actually favors the Saints because the Bears are so terrible. They've only averaged 16 points per game at home. And by the way, Mitch Trubisky actually has a better adjusted net yards per attempt than Nick Foles. So they're actually playing with their second best quarterback right now.
Raybon, you see this banner right here? You see this?
Yeah, rip it down.
Rip it down. I'm going to rip it down because I got more props and more swag that I am ready to showcase than you know what to do with. But I'm telling you, I didn't like the Saints in this spot, whether or not I'm a Bears homer, because the Bears at home coming off of a horrible loss on Monday Night Football in prime time against a team like the Saints, where I actually just think they're in tremendous disarray. And I am very concerned about their weapons outside of Alvin Kamara. And I am not concerned about the Bears being undervalued in a market because of how badly they played against the Rams on Sunday night. So at this number, this is a field goal game to me. I still feel like I'm getting a point of value on the Bears, even if it's at +4. It opened at 4.5. It's down to 4. I like the Bears in this spot.
Bears can't kick. What team? You're talking about Bears kickers in the win? Good luck.
Raybon, you and Friedman are both the losers in round 1. The Corn Man has convinced me to go with the Browns -1 in the first round. It convinced me. Don't forget, coming up in a few minutes, you're going to get to win some cash, and you're going to get an exclusive on Sean Corner's Sunday Night Football player prop. That will be in the 3rd segment of the show. By the way, just to be clear, like, Corner puts out his player props and those lines move immediately. So you are getting a huge jump if you are watching this show.
Chad, real quick, if you needed another reason to feel good about backing the Bears here, this is going to be Drew Brees' first game playing in winds of 15 miles per hour or more in 11 years. However, that said, last time he was in this spot, he did cover. So, long time ago, but for what it's worth. Also, the public is disagreeing with you. They're taking the Saints along with Raybon. They're getting the majority of the tickets and the money. So is the under. The under's getting, a majority of the tickets and the money. Like I said, there's expected to be double-digit wins, making this one of 8 games. That's a match for one of our pro systems with, I don't need to get into the dirty details, but basically with the wind and the temperatures, this is one of 8 games that's a match for a pro system that's hitting at a 57% win rate this season. So,
all right, guess what? I love all your data. That's fantastic. I hope people can use it. There's 2 things you said that matter the most to me right now. 1, the public is on the Saints. Fade the Saints. Fade Raybon. 2, Drew Brees hasn't thrown a pass in more than 15 miles per hour in 11 years. He was like 29 11 years ago. He can't throw a pass in perfect conditions that are built for his arm. He can't throw it more than 15 yards down the field, let alone 15 yards down the field in 15-mile-per-hour winds. Give me the Bears. Raybon, not for me today, buddy. All right, let's go to round 2 here. We are going to talk about some totals. Sean Corner, you're up first. Tell me who I should bet for a total right now.
So, all the attention is on this massive 20-point spread in the Jets-Chiefs game, but I'm actually interested in this total. I love taking the under here. Obviously the Chiefs should be able to score with ease in the first half. I don't think there's going to be any issues there. But the question is, will the Jets be able to score enough to keep Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense with the foot on the gas? And I think the answer to that is no. Especially since Sam Darnold is without his top 2 receivers and Le'Veon Bell, who happens to be playing for the other team today. I was looking at last year, KC had been more willing to throw the ball up 7 or more last year. They threw 53% of the time, went up by a touchdown or more. And this year it's down to 45%. I think it's pretty clear. They just running with the lead a bit more this year. So I think the second half could pose a pretty good environment for the under. The Jets run D is probably the only above average part about this Jets team. They're 14th against the run in terms of DVOA, 4th in adjusted line yards allowed. So I think when this game script turns into KC going run heavy, that's going to pose a little bit of a problem. And this KC pass defense is 5th against the pass in terms of DVOA. So, the Jets going to an extreme pass heavy approach in the second half probably won't produce many points. So again, I think the second half sets up well for the under, and that's why I like the under 49 here.
Just quickly, what do you have this power rated at?
I have it at 47. And we're dealing with some key numbers in that range, but again, I think with all the elements, I'd bet under 47, even if that was the line. I just think there's too many outs here for the under. Just the potential, flow of this game does set up a lower scoring environment, just because, like I said, the Chiefs won't be needed to really score much to win here.
All right, what's the rule, people? Get the best of the number. If the number's at 49 right now, and you agree with what Sean Corner is saying, and he's got this game rated at 47, get 49 right now.
Chad.
Like the under. Yes.
Today is a big day. I have never seen so many unders as far as money percentage. This is from William Hill. By the way, 63% on the over for Jets Chiefs at William Hill. But the unders, 92% are taking the Vikings Packers under, 83% are taking the Pats Bills under, 83% are taking the Saints under, and 81% taking the Colts Lions under. So I don't know. I just don't remember that many with the public that lopsided on the unders.
All right, Friedman, give me your stink take.
Okay. Well, I like the Cowboys Eagles under. Again, going with an under here, 42.5, 43. You can get it at 43 at DraftKings. Always use the Action Network app to find the best line. I love the under here. The Cowboys are without starting quarterback Dak Prescott. They're without backup quarterback Andy Dalton. They are starting 7th round, 3rd string rookie from a small school, Benny DiNucci. Their offensive line is decimated. They can't run block. They can't pass protect. And even with all of their injuries, the Eagles are still healthy along the defensive line, which is one of the league's best. They will be all over Gucci DiNucci. They're going to be getting quarterback pressures, knockdowns, sacks, and that is going to make it difficult for the Cowboys to sustain drives and score points. And if the Cowboys struggle to score, the Eagles are going to be 100% fine with playing a ball control, risk minimizing style of offense. Just be sure to get the win, and that is going to drive the total to the under. And the Cowboys have scored 2 points and 3 points in 2 full games without Dak Prescott. They will not do what they need to do to get this total to the under, to get this total to the over, which is why I love the under here.
I mean, it's just so ugly. This number's at 42.5, 43. There's so much about this that I hate. Like the fact that I'd have to spend time watching this game, the fact that I've had to invest in some way in an Eagles team doing something that requires me to win money, and a Cowboys team underperforming, which we expect them to do anyways, at the time when I feel like they might actually have a shot to cover just because the number is so big right now. And this Eagles team is so unpredictable. Oh my God, I hate this so much. I hate everything about it. Raybon, give me an option. Give me an option other than this game.
I mean, you got to go Steelers Ravens under here. This is a divisional clash between two teams that are going to play some hard-nosed football. And you look at these two teams, the last 10 times they've met in Baltimore, the total's been under 46.5. It's gone under in 5 of the last 6. Both of these teams are bottom 6 in early down success rate. So you're having some trouble on offense, even though you have some big names. And both of these teams are top 3 in DVOA. This game is going to be a divisional struggle. And I think you got to take the under here. I mean, you look back, you can't find a game where it's even hit this number. Like, you have to go back to 2007, December 30th, 2007, the last time in Baltimore that Steelers Ravens would have gone over this number.
All right. So we're talking about 13 years. Drew Brees, for frame of reference, was about 27 years old. And back then he had an arm that could throw it really deep. I kind of love this. I do. I feel like this is like going to be a hard fought, run heavy, like Ben Roethlisberger does not look like he can actually throw the ball very far downfield. And that Ravens defense is so good, especially in the back 4. Like Ben Roethlisberger, I think, Raybon, you guys had this on the Action Network NFL podcast. Like Ben Roethlisberger had 2 throws of more than 20 yards against the Titans game, and both of them were intercepted. And what's interesting to me is, like, well, the Titans are a great running team, obviously, with Derrick Henry. What's interesting to me, even without Mark Ingram, is what the Ravens are going to do on the ground against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that I do think is going to miss Devin Bush. And I do think that will entice the Ravens to run it even more. And I think also, you didn't mention this, the Ravens coming off a bye, like they're not interested in giving the ball to the Steelers very often. So I'm thinking, I do like what Corner is saying. I don't like anything that Friedman said, but I will not do an under that involves the Jets and the Chiefs. I will not do a bet that involves the Eagles and the Cowboys. So $100, 100 going on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens under 46.5. I'm going to match that with my Browns -1 from Sean Corner in the first round and convince me. Woo! Coming up in the next segment, we're going to have Sean Corner's exclusive Sunday Night Football prop, and you're going to get a chance to win some real cash off of a player prop that we're going to put out on Twitter at Action Network HQ. Darren, do you have anything else to add?
I do, because we were talking about Steelers Ravens. This is maybe the most confusing line of the NFL season. So the guys at the Superbook opened up at -6 Ravens, and it was pounded down to 4. There was no Ravens money. Eric Osterman says just 0. And obviously the public thinks 6-0. How can a 6-0 Steelers team be a dog? Even a dog, right? And so right now we have looked at all the money here from all the sports books that have come in, and there is no sports book that has less than 75% of the money at Steelers +4. Again, the public thinks this game is free money. They think there's something wrong with this line. But obviously you look at records and that's how it goes. So I think that's the most interesting game of the week.
Yeah, I agree. And I also, for what it's worth, love the Ravens at -4. Loved them at -3. It got down to -3. This game opened at 5.5, got bet down to 3. It started creeping back up. I love the Ravens at -4 here. This is a smash spot. You can follow all of our picks, by the way, in the Action Network app. You can follow Corner, you can follow Friedman, you can follow Raybon, you can follow me, Darren, Katie, all of us. You'll see right now what I have in the Action Network app. You'll see that I have the Ravens -4. I've also got a little taste on the Miami Dolphins at +165. But It's time for the third round of Convince Me. We're talking about player props. Sean Corner is going to give his Sunday Night Football exclusive player prop right here. That is one you want to jump on because the second he says it, the line will move. I promise you, the line will move. Last week we did this and we were talking about a player prop, and literally during the show, it moved about 10 yards and it's still covered, by the way. You're also going to get a chance to win some cash in this segment. Sean Corner, you are up first. Corn man.
Right. I have the bet lined up so I can get the number 2. All right. Here we go. So for tonight's game, I'm going with the under on Zeke's rushing yards. It's 67.5 right now, but I think the under is the way to go here. Freeman did touch on some of the points I want to get to. So kudos to Freeman, but the Cowboys are 10.5 point underdogs here. They should be trailing for most of the game. It's not going to be conducive to a run heavy game script for Zeke. Ben DiNucci under center will allow the Eagles to stack the box. More bad news for Zeke. This Dallas offensive line has dealt with a ton of injuries this year. They're going to be outmatched by this Eagles front four, who have allowed the third fewest adjusted line yards rate, according to Football Outsiders. So Zeke's going to have a tough sledding night. And, they've been getting Tony Pollard more involved. It's pretty much a lost season now for the Cowboys. So giving Zeke 20 carries a game does not make sense. So I think we could see more Tony Pollard tonight. But again, this is going to be just an ugly game. I can't imagine the Cowboys being able to move the ball. And Zeke does depend on this offense, thriving. He benefits off this offense being good. And it's going to be a disaster night with Ben DiNucci. So I'm loving the under here. I would bet it down to, honestly, probably 61.5 yards. So I think there's some good value here at 67.
Wow. Going under on Ezekiel Elliott. The one thing I disagree with you there, I'm not going to weigh in on the prop. And I think that delta you're giving people, because this thing is probably already moving from 67.5. You said bet it down. You're comfortable betting it down to 61.5. Everything you're saying is right. There's no threat in Ben DiNucci. The Cowboys probably want to use Tony Pollard. Zeke actually just hasn't been playing well. He needs the game in which he can go off. It probably won't be this game. Here's the challenge. I think the Cowboys still have something to play for because that division is so bad. They win this game, they could still be in first place. So what else are you going to do other than give the ball to Ezekiel Elliott? He could have 30 carries and average 2.5 yards per carry and still get that, still be north of 67.5 yards.
That's a great point. They're still in the hunt in the NFC East, but I think, dumping off to him, using him in the passing game is probably the best way to get around this Eagles front. So I agree, they're probably still in the playoff hunt, but I could see them using Tony Pollard more anyways and getting Zeke more involved in the passing game, limiting his carries here.
All right, folks, that is your exclusive Sunday Night Football prop from the Corn Man, from the odds maker, Sean Corner. You can follow everything he's doing in the Action Network app. Ezekiel Elliott under 67.5 yards, bet it down to 61.5. Matthew Friedman, will I listen to you and bet $100 on this next player prop you're going to try to convince me of?
I mean, I hope not, Chad. I feel very strong as if I'm already 2-0 on the ones that you've rejected. So reject this one, and I'm looking at a clean sweep. I'm going with Keenan Allen over 68.5 yards receiving. Allen is going against Broncos slot cornerback Bryce Callahan, who's good, but Allen is better. And the matchup doesn't even matter with all of the targets that Allen is getting anyway. In his 4 full games with quarterback Justin Herbert, Allen has target totals of 10, 19, 11, and 13. And that comes out to a 37% target share. That's number one among all wide receivers in those weeks. He is just getting peppered with targets when he is out there. And in his 4 full games with Herbert, Allen has easily gone over 68.5 yards in 3 games with 96, 132, and 125 yards. In the one game where he was under 68.5, he had 62, and that was against Bucks future All-Pro cornerback Carlton Davis, who was shadowing him and is just playing at a near elite level. Callahan is good, but he is not nearly as good as Davis. And so with all those targets and with the advantageous matchup, I think this is bettable into the 80s. So I think there's a lot of value here at 68.5.
Friedman, you better look out, because there might be no bigger fan in Central Connecticut of Keenan Allen than me. I love the guy. My only fear is like that he's being wasted on a team that is 8-8 every year, and he deserves so many more props than he's been getting throughout his career. I love the guy. I do have some concerns that like Justin Herbert, who's been amazing, and like Raybon did this incredible column a couple weeks ago where you looked at sort of the first 407 dropbacks of a quarterback, and like Herbert to me is already showing like that he is going to be better than Baker Mayfield. He's going to be better than Gardner Minshew. He's going to be better than Josh Allen based on sort of all of the stats that you can start to glean from what he's been doing. The Broncos like to keep the game in front of them. And it does worry me that they will find a way, because Vic Fangio is so good at finding a way to limit a quarterback's ability to really dominate. Even against the Chiefs last week, like they scored a lot of points, but it wasn't a classic Mahomes game. But this still feels like a really low number. Really low. I agree with you on like the variance here. So Raybon, right now, please try to find a way to keep me from being convinced by what Matthew Friedman just told me.
Well, you already did the work for me, Chad. You said that Drew Brees couldn't throw in the cold weather and that he had no receivers. Well, boom. Then you got to take the over 2.5 on Deontay Harris's reception prop. He played 29% of the snaps, ran 42% of the routes last week, 5 targets, 4 catches. Why? His average depth of target, 5.0. Perfect for Brees in the wind. Take Deontay Harris over 2.5 receptions at -152. I'd bet it all the way up to 200. I have it closer to 4.
All right, well, this gets interesting. I don't want anything to do with anything that is involving New Orleans Saints, right? The New Orleans Saints in Chicago. All right. I also, by the way, I don't know, Friedman, you didn't tell me what the price was on Keenan Allen under 64.5, but I'm betting that the price I can get is better than -152. Not to get too technical in the show for those fans who don't really understand anything more than like betting the raw number, but a price of -152 is really high on a over 2.5 receptions prop. I don't love paying that much juice. Give me the number on Keenan Allen under 64.5 right now, or over. I'm sorry, over 66.5.
I think it's around 125, -125.
All right. I'm sorry to say it, Raybon, right now, and I'm sorry to say it, Friedman, because I know how much you hate convincing me. Give me a hundy on Keenan Allen over 68.5 rushing yards. Here's the contest. Tweet at Action Network HQ with what you think Keenan Allen's total receiving yards will be, and you will win some cold hard cash. You might even win this exact $100, and I will sign it for you. Probably not. Keenan Allen over 68.5 rushing yards. That is the third segment of Convince Me.
Chad, for those who were not convinced by the Keenan Allen prop and liked Sean's Sunday Night Football pick, they can get more of his picks on our site. As you mentioned earlier, we published his picks for the Sunday main slate overnight on Saturday, and I'm going to give you 3 more just as a quick taste, and you can go consult his story and then shop some lines, but 3 that are hooked around wind to some degree or another. The first is the under on Aaron Rodgers passing yards. Sean likes that down to 275.5. He did say maybe lower. Sean, would you like to weigh in? Is it lower?
I would still say 275.5. The wind doesn't look like it's going to be as bad.
Cool. The second is the under on Jared Cook's receiving yards. He likes that one down to 37.5, at least last time I talked to him. And the third, maybe counterintuitively, given the wind, is the under on Josh Jacobs rushing yards. As Sean mentioned earlier, Jacobs is dealing with a knee injury, and he likes that one down to 74.5. All of those lines are still good. I just checked it across multiple books. So if you have access to DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, most of those lines are available.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Also, don't forget, for all of our watchers in Tennessee, like today is the first day you can bet for real in Tennessee, live sports betting. Check out actionnetwork.com for the latest in promos. Like these sports books are going to want your business. They come to Action Network and they say, we are going to give you ridiculous offers. Like any book is out there saying, BetMGM is saying, you bet $1 on the Bengals Titans game and we will give you $100 free in bets. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get. If you're in Tennessee, go to actionnetwork.com. Check out our promos. Darren, what's the latest?
Well, we're still looking at Jets Chiefs. I think it's the third largest spread in the last 5 years at 20. 76% of the money at FanDuel is still on the Chiefs. And then we have a big bet in. I love a parlay. I love a money line parlay. Packers at minus 270, Bengals at minus 310, Chiefs at minus 3,000, Giants at minus 700. That is 100,000 to win 114,000 at BetMGM. So that's the bet I'm looking at right now.
All right, here we go. We're wrapping it up. We got about 90 minutes until games kick off. This is the best window in sports. All the bets are being made. Virtual lines are happening at sportsbooks all over the country. These are the bets that I was convinced of on this show. Sean Corner convinced me to bet the Browns at -1 over the Raiders. Chris Raybon convinced me to bet the under in an AFC North matchup of division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, under 46.5. And somehow Matthew Friedman convinced me to bet the over on Keenan Allen, 68.5 receiving yards. If you respond to @Action Network HQ with the exact number of Keenan Allen's receiving yards, you will win some cash. Go enjoy the rest of the day. Make some money.